In this video, we're going to talk about how to create basically a workflow that allows anytime that a new message is received into Sierra Interactive, that you automatically can get a push notification on Slack. So if you use Slack, and that's a good way to alert yourself or your team, and you can use this or this basic overall flow for a multitude of things. Like you can do some things with it and not just alert yourself for text, but for emails or showing requests, all types of different things. But this one's going to go over a text message. So the overall flow, I just want to show this. What we'll do is we'll create a Sierra Interactive automation. I've created a lot of these things already, so we're just going to go through how it's built just for the sake of time so that this isn't like a 45-minute video you have to watch. That Sierra automation is going to be triggered on a new SMS being received. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a tag called SMS received. That SMS received tag is actually going to trigger this Zap. So there'll be a Zap that's built out where we trigger it based on that new SMS tag being received. And then we'll go ahead and push a Slack notification. And then the final step is we'll remove this tag, which makes it re-eligible for this automation to run again so that this whole cycle can happen more than once. So the first thing you need to do is inside of Sierra Interactive, underneath leads over here, there's this thing called lead tags. That's what you're going to need to click on in order to get to this area here. And then you'll hit add new lead tag and you'll create a new lead tag. And you're going to name this lead tag SMS received. I've already created this lead tag right here, so I'm not going to create it again. And you can see it's not leads right now. You're going to need to create that tag if you wanted to alert for different things like email received or showing requests. You could create additional tags for those additional items and then create additional flows like we're going to go through right now to account for those different things so that you know exactly what the action or activity was that occurred. So after we have this tag and this tag exists, we're then going to go over and we're going to create an automation inside Sierra Interactive. If you haven't done this before, underneath this gear icon in the top right, there's actually an area inside of here called automations. It'll take you to a main screen and then you'll have the ability to create a new automation, which is basically what we've done here. And it takes you to this screen once you've done that. You can name this here whatever you want. You can give it whatever name makes sense for you. I just named it SMS notification. You could actually go in here and just do SMS notification. And then you can make it Slack, whatever you want it to do. Really doesn't matter. The first thing we need to do here though, is we need to add a trigger. And I've already added this trigger based on lead communication and it being a text message. So I'll do this one more time just so that you can see the process inside of here, but it's actually underneath something called behavioral. And then this drop-down menu has communication from a lead. Now, it automatically looks for any type of inbound communication. We are actually going to remove the rest of these and only watch for inbound text messages. Now, if you wanted to do what I was talking about earlier, which is anytime an email, a phone call, showing request for more information comes in, push a Slack notification, you could leave all of these and change the name of your tag and stuff, and you would get all of them, but you wouldn't know which was which, right? What was an email response versus an inbound phone call? That's why what I recommend is removing these out of here. And for the sake of our example today, we're only going to watch for text message, but I would create additional flows that would each watch for the separate things, if that makes sense, right? So in here, once I've done that, I'm going to add the trigger. You can also add criteria. So if you want to filter based on the lead being of a certain type of lead or assigned to a certain agent or whatever, you can use this filtration to filter down who gets applied the tag. And then the last piece here is we're just going to apply a lead tag. Super simple, super easy. You just add an action, and then I've already done this, so it's not going to give me the option again, but add tag is one of the options inside of the drop-down menu. And when we do that, when we add the option, we just want to make sure that we choose the tag, the appropriate tag that we created, which in this case is the SMS receive tag. We're going to save that action. The last thing we need to do is change the frequency. It's typically going to be defaulted to option number 1. What we want to do is we want it to actually be under option number 2 and run every instance so that every text message that comes in, it sends a new notification for that contact. So I'll set that frequency and then I'll save the automation. Last thing, just don't forget to activate the automations. So that tends to sometimes get missed, which is this whole activate slider here. If you're on the automation itself, it's just found right here at the bottom. So if you're on the automation, it'll be right there at the bottom. If not, you can get to it right here. That's all we have to do inside Sierra Interactive. Create the tag, create the automation. Then what we need to do is we need to jump over to our Zap account and create a new Zap. And the new Zap is going to be triggered right here when the tag is applied. Then we're going to send out the Slack notification. I'm actually going to wait 30 seconds just to attempt for things not to collide. And we're going to go back to Sierra Interactive and remove that tag that we added inside Sierra Interactive in that automation so that contact is now re-eligible to go through this flow and trigger this all over again. One really nice thing that I did is I created and packaged up this Zap. So basically right here, I'll share this link, and what you'll be able to do is if you're logged in to your Zap account, this will actually say use this Zap, and it'll pull all of these steps in for you. You'll just have to connect your different accounts, your Sierra account, your Zap account. It'll give you a lot of the framework. So what I want to do now is I actually want to go through the whole flow of how this is set up. First thing I want to do is my trigger type. I'm going to add a Sierra Interactive module. My trigger type is going to be when a new tag is applied. The new tag is one of the options that you have right here. Once I've done that, I can hit continue, and then you get the ability to choose specific agents, which is again just filtration. If you only want this to trigger on a certain agent, you can do that, or certain agents. I chose all agents, or any agent. You have to choose an option, and so I chose any agent. In the sites, I also chose any site, but then underneath new tag, I made sure to just connect the tag that I had just created over in Sierra. So the one that we're going to apply from that automation, that's the same one that's going to go there. I'm going to hit continue. Sometimes it might not allow you to populate data. If that's the case, just hit skip. There'll be if continue doesn't exist here, it'll say skip test. But continue exists, so I'm going to continue to the next step, which is now the Zap module. If you're using the template, this should be pre-populated. If not, you'll use this little plus icon, and you'll just search for Zap as the module type, and then send channel message is really what we're looking for out of this whole list. There'll be all these options that you can do, but the one option that we want is specifically this one here, which is the send channel message. So once we do that, it will have us authenticate our account if we're not connected with our Zap account. What I've done inside my Zap account is I've actually created a channel, and I name that channel alert-Sierra-interactive. It's just an alert channel where all of my alerts are going to get pushed through for any Sierra Interactive alert that I decide to make. So that's what I've done. You can do whatever you want here. It's up to you. But you're going to go ahead and you're going to create this channel, whatever you name the channel. And then that's what you're going to set up over here. So you're going to choose the channel name. And then if you're using the template, all of this should be filled in already, which is all of the information around this person. And you can change any of this information if you want. If you don't care to get the email and the phone number, you just want the alert of who the person was, go for it. Just leave that and back the rest of the stuff out of here. This is what I included because I thought it was the most relevant information, which is email, phone number, what the type of the lead is, obviously the name here at the top, and then the profile URL, which is going to get me back to that lead quickly so that I can go ahead and respond. And then lastly, who's it assigned to? So that if you're going to say, hey, agents, watch for notifications that come in, then they can see, okay, that's a lead that's assigned to me. I can click into it and go ahead and do what I got to do. I also gave the bot a name, which is SMS received. So if I set up another one of these flows that was going to watch for showing request or email received, I would change the bot name to match what the action and activity was so that I knew, okay, this is somebody that did that activity. Once I've done this, I'm going to hit continue. And I do want to go back for a second because when you're inside of here, there's a lot of information that you get access to. I need to move this thing out of the way right here. Okay. There's a lot of information that you get access to inside of here, this lead record. So there may be additional things like status of the lead, which I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to add status right now. So we'll go ahead and we'll add that, and then we'll add status of the lead. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Make sure you get out of here and click that. So now what I have is I actually not only have the type, but I have the status of the lead. So it's a buyer in there and new and all of that. Again, you can change it. You can do whatever you want, right? You can make that be whatever you want. After that, I'm going to hit continue. There'll be a test that you'll be able to do, which I can do right now. And then you can see that it just went ahead and threw this Mike Dan person into this Zap, and SMS received is the bot name. So I know it was an SMS received and that this is what they did. I know who it's assigned to, which is Dan Blunt. And we also have the profile URL. This is all obviously fake data. This thing is just a delay module. You can search for this if you need to. It's just delay by Zapier and delay 4. And then when you delay, you you can use decimals. So I did 0.5 and minutes. So 30 seconds is what it ends up being. Next step is another Sierra Interactive module. So hit the plus button if you did not use the template. Choose Sierra Interactive as the option, and then update lead is actually what you're going to look for inside of the list. It'll be this thing here at the bottom. And once you choose that, all you have to do is connect the email address from the lead that was tagged up here. So it'll be the information inside the dropdown. So connect their email address, and then you scroll down to where it says remove tags, and you remove the tag that we applied in the automation at the beginning. So that's all you have to do there to make that happen. So I'll click continue here and get out of here. I'll hit publish, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit publish. Didn't give it a name or anything. Now this Zap flow is live. So at this point, we've created our tag. We created the automation right here. Edit it so we can see this again. It watches for this communication, goes ahead and applies the tags. We made sure that it runs every single time. We changed that frequency. We went over to our Zap, and then we created this Zap that watches for the tag, goes ahead and sends the Slack notification, waits for 30 seconds, picks the tag back up so that it can be triggered more than once. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over to my mobile device, and I'm going to send myself a text message. So let me go over here, and I got the text pulled up, and I'm just going to type in, hey. Went ahead and did that. And then the automation's running in Sierra. It's applying the tag to the contact inside Sierra. The Zap is going to go ahead and push it through. This is the demo contact that I have in there. Shows me who it is, what it is, gives me the profile URL, who it's assigned to. I can actually grab this URL. I can copy it. I can open it inside of a new tab to show you, because we have that 30-second delay. You can see the SMS received exists on this contact. We have that SMS received tag, which exists right here. And then since we've had this SMS received right here, after 30 seconds, which I'm going to refresh my screen, you can see it's gone. It picked the tag back up. That was just the alerting mechanism and the ability to transfer everything over. One thing that I did not add inside this Slack that I think is super important, and it's actually, okay, because it's the tag, it's not going to give us that information. I was thinking it would give us the last text message that was received, because we don't actually have the ability here to know what the message is. We just know that it happened. You're going to have to use that link, get back to the lead profile like we did here, and then you'll be able to get to the messages area and handle that message. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions or whatever, just reach out to support@ggms.com and use that Zap template, walk through everything, use this video as a resource. And if you need anything from us, we're here.